Yeah, I was just saying, I didn't see you come in, I'm sorry. I didn't see all of you guys. I'm recording. But I finally sent me this so I can finish the. Yeah. For you, I hit to the computer and I'm not supposed to hit to the lab, but I hit to the computer. Okay, I'm bored to the computer. I couldn't really do this time. I couldn't use that. And you look at like. But it should be the file. The computer. Did you? But I didn't.
Yeah, but you'll be.
Yeah, fine.
Input and all that. Yeah, yeah, I appreciate it.
Whatever you want. Let's say you have to present it. Your computer has an HDMI, right? Yeah. Okay, you can just log it in. And we don't have to until you're ready to do that. For help coming?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. And we'll be. It's not. Maybe not speakers down. I think that's just turning on. Oh, the projector. Sometimes the. Yeah, the speakers, yeah, that doesn't make it, that's the projector. And irritating electronic noise. Time to start. We are recording.
Gonna call a meeting to order. First item is the minutes.
I did not make these, so did not with them.
Oh,
I apologize, guys, my child was in an emergency room last meeting, so I obviously could not be here.
Yeah, I took those. They're the second page in your packet. Please take a moment and review those, and, if you have any questions or anything, please let me know, if you have any.
I'm going to be accepting this.
Second. In proper use discussion, any question? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
We knew about the consent.
Judge, executive, Thomas, made a motion, Danny, late second. Next item on the floor is treasury report, Mark.
Yes, before I start on the treasurer's report, I just wanted to give a couple updates on a couple questions from last time. I do currently have Keith Brock with Compass Capital working up numbers for us to be presented with as far as the $1 million pay down, whether we choose to send it in to Compass Capital to unfold for us, or whether we want to invest in a different portfolio. But at the end of the day, we had to do something with the money. We cannot retain it here in a bank account. It has to be invested or applied towards the pay down. So he is working on that currently. He should have it ready for our April 1st meeting. So you'll see that pay down occur whenever we present the budget here in a moment. Also, I won't get too far into this, but as far as the director of county manager position, the budget does allow for that. I know someone had a question on that last week. or last month, I'm sorry, but we can't allow for both of those, and Rita will get more into that in a moment. As far as the financials for January, they are a little out of order on this one, so I'll start with the statement of bank position. It's about 3 pages in the back of the packet. So more or less on this page, this is just your bank accounts and assets. The only thing that really changed was the bank account balances for January. You're up to $4,096,203 spread across 2 bank accounts at Farmers National Bank and 1 bank account at Community Trust Bank. As far as everything else on the balance sheet, it stayed the same. If you go back 2 tables, the statement of activity for January is present. You'll see in the month of January, we brought in $242,685 in tax income and $9,080.45 in interest income. As far as that goes, and then the expenses, they're your usual month-to-month expenses. You had your usual cleaning and repairs. Flip to the back page. Your usual utilities, electric, stay about the same year over year. But for the most part, January that they hit me, it's not like nothing out of the norm occurred. Then we'll go back to the front. There will be page 4, your budget versus actual. And so for the year, we have brought in 101% of our budgeted tax income through the end of January. It's also, we don't budget for it, but we have brought in $47,223 in interest income. Yes, they're really small.
You gotta hold it over here.
We'll just take out that weirdness trail.
I'm already like, could you hold it here? And then I can.
I hold it right here. actually.
Right, no, right.
That's about, it's the best thing to do. So,
There.
yeah. So for the year, as far as the income, we are well above budget. Going down into the expenditures, nothing occurred in January as far as the salaries for the agents or anything like that. So heading down into the 53,000 accounts with your contracted services. We are currently at 70% on the year for professional services that your cleaning crew that comes in and cleans the building. We will be butting right up against the 100% for the year. Going down to the equipment repair, the account 53,007, that will come in right at 100,000 or right at 100%. That is your dental office equipment, all your printers and all your equipment such as that. We are a little over budget, like I said last time, on account 53,008 is your vehicle insurance, and that's due to a premium increase. Like I'm sure everybody in here has probably experienced this year. As far as your vehicle repairs and maintenance, the account right below it, that's your fuel and oil changes and everything in your vehicles. So that will be above budget as well. Utilities for the year, we come in at 59%. Considering we're already through the end of January on this report, I feel pretty comfortable coming in under budget on that. So we had most of the heavy winter months behind us. With the weather we're having, I would assume that February and March will be a little lower than we're typically seeing. The next category, just skipping on down to 54,002 supplies and services. It's currently at almost 63% of the budget. It should come in right around 100% by the time it's over. We will have a little bit of an increase where we start running for 4-H camp and things of that. Sorry. So going on now, for janitorial supplies, account 54,006, that also goes back to your cleaning crew. As part of that deal, we do provide some of the janitorial supplies to them as well as the ones we use here. Going down to the account 55,001, due to subscriptions, that account will be over. It's already at 156%. We have budgeted for more moving forward. It only had a $500 budget to begin with for this year. Everything else is pretty on par as far as the travel. Then getting down into the accounts 59,002, I mentioned it last time, audit expense is lower budget, and that's because each audit went up. So we completed 2 audits in this fiscal year. We budgeted for 6,000 apiece, and they come in at 6,450. I do want everybody to be aware, we are currently working on a 3rd audit, so it is potential that we'll have another $6,450 expense in that category. Moving down to Account P 9006, that's your Department of Local Government fees, it's at 100%, that's your audit fee for the year. It's the same with account P 9009, which is bank fees. That's the fee that we pay to Keiko for our bond agreement up there. The account right below 59,010 is your business insurance, and it's similar to the vehicle insurance, there's a premium increase over what we've seen last year. Moving on down, then under capital outlay, account 61,201, it's at 95%, but that was the overhead from PTO purpose, so we're not expecting that to go up any higher. And then under debt service, you'll see account 62,100 principal payments. We've already made all the principal payment on the Keiko debt that we'll make this year. And then account 62,300 is your interest payment, and it will be a little over the budgeted amount, the second payment in June. That's a little out of order, but if you have your reconciliation reports and the check details, there's one. Are there any questions on? Yeah, that.
I don't know, personally, I live like, this is extremely too small for me.
Yes, sir, I'll work on that next time.
This, here is fine.
Yeah. I'll try to bring it into Excel, or it strengthens the
Oh,
it shrinks it way down, so I'll try to straighten it out.
I think I was pulling up on the thing if you want, on the screen if you want, went for your treasury report, if that helps, if that's helpful.
Yeah, that'll probably help me make it right low enough.
Cause you can, yeah. Probably better than printing.
Yeah, because I'll have to edit it in Excel to get the columns out, so it's just a matter of everybody likes. Shouldn't be too bad. Probably just hide.
You heard the treasurer report, which will be pleasure.
I made a motion to accept it. I'll say.
So probably second, the treasurer report. The second in that portion. On it. Then I will propose say aye. And opposed, motion carries. Welcome to Richmond options.
So last month, we kind of went through the two different local positions that are out there, just so that you all are aware of those. And it was asked, and I appreciate Mark bringing that up, it was asked if that would fit within the budget that you have. And when the budget committee met, we put in the county manager position. The county director position would probably be around 21,000 plus a few dollars for benefits more than that. So I think either of those, I agree with Mark, either of those would definitely fit within your budget. This is totally, up to you all as district board members moving forward. If you'd like, I can kind of go through what each of those positions do. And some of you all have asked about job description for the positions. I do have those as well. So if you want to take one and pass those to Randolph, I should have got those. We'll come back and we'll see. Yeah. So that is the one for the county director, that's for the county manager position. So either of those will fit into your budget, even at the highest end of those, which doesn't mean that if you were to approve either of those, that you would be hiring at the highest position, just depending on the qualities of the candidate who was selected. So, last time we kind of reviewed what each of those positions be responsible for. County director would be a more comprehensive position for your office situation. County director, you have a regional extension director, an area extension director, and now we have the option of having a county director. That individual would be going to an extensive list of trainings. Once they're in, if we were to put one in place now, they would be part of that cohort. There's probably 3 or 4 that's probably going to be hired in our central region, that we know of as of right now. 2 of those positions have already posted, so they will post on the UK-wide jobs website. They'll be posted for three weeks, and then they'll go through the interview process. And we can talk more about that interview process. I know you all had some questions about that last time as well. So basically, the county director position would be part of our administrative team. Like, this individual would go to all the same retreats and trainings that I go to. They will directly supervise all county staff and agents, except for program assistants. Like, we have an FCS program assistant, we have a nutrition education program assistant. Those would be supervised by the agent still. So otherwise, they would supervise all staff and agent positions. That will take those extra responsibilities off of our agent's plate, so they would just do programming. Now, that's not to say that they would not be involved. We can still request that the agents be at district board meetings, county extension council meetings. They would be involved with input into the budget, just like they are with the process now. It's just, they would not have those fiscal responsibilities for district board, for budgets, for money handling, for facilities. We have Barry would still be here. The county director would kind of coordinate all of that, and the agents are left with programming responsibilities, which is what they do best. The county director would serve as the contact for everyone in the office. If there was a need, they will be that point of contact. They'll also be part of our UK leadership team. They would take the lead on the budgets, on district boards, on the county executive council. They would supervise the facilities manager. If there were marketing things, of course, they're going to talk with coworkers here at the office related to marketing, but they would be the person responsible for taking that lead and making sure that those things happen. They would take care of all the reporting. They would coordinate all of that, be in charge of office staff meetings. The big thing that it would allow you, that the county manager position will not allow you to do, should you want to do any of these, this is totally your decision. And I will tell you all, this is not the only time you can hire either of these individuals. This just, if you did it now throughout the budget, but we can always go back and do budget amendments and stuff if we need to. But just want you to know that this is not the only time this is going to be out here. But if you ever wanted to really grow and expand your extension program, like, can I mention some example?
Sure.
Earlier today, we were talking about, if we ever wanted to add additional agents, y'all have a wonderful, fine arts community here. If you ever wanted to add a fine arts agent to the staff, this is the only way that you're going to be able to add new agents or additional agents to your program. Now, we can add assistants, that's not a problem. But if you wanted to add, a second 4-H agent or FCS or whatever it might be, a fine arts agent, this person has to be in place before we can do that. And that's just because of supervision numbers. Because we are just really maxed out. When we created the 24 areas, it was originally designed to have 24 area directors, and there was not funding for that. So now we each have 2. And to add more people into that supervision ratio is just not something that UK can do right now. It's kind of spread way too thin. So that would allow you to grow your program should you ever want to add those agent positions.
This person answers to you, is that, yes, that's
Yes.
how them.
Yes, so if you went with a county, either a county manager or a director, it would answer to me.
Okay.
So the county director would supervise the staff, all the assistants except for program assistants and NEP assistants and the agents So that individual, that director would do those performance evaluations. I would do the performance evaluation for the county director. So I would still be involved in your county. I have one county right now, it's Scott County, that has a county director. And I'm always there for their budget meeting, and I'm there when they set their tax rates for their board meetings, and at other times whenever the director says, hey, I want you to come by. I'm also involved in hiring along with that county director. If you were to hire new people for your office, both of us would be on that hiring, and interview team. So they would be going through extensive training. They would be completing the UK leadership program as well as supervision training through the university. I would still oversee local supervision of county operations. So just some of that stuff I'll be working with that person. So that is a full-time administrative role with no programming responsibilities. And that search for that individual is posted on UK-wide jobs. It's a nationwide search, so it could be someone from in extension, someone from outside of extension. We could even pull up those job descriptions and see the postings for together UK-wide jobs and look at that. You can see exactly those two brand new positions that just posted last week. So that is the county director position, and that is the more expensive one. Just because that individual has a lot more responsibilities than the county manager would have. And that they would be supervising more individuals. So any questions about county director? Both county director and county manager are going to be in-house here, so they'll be here every day. So they'll be working alongside with our agents, with our staff, be at all the staff meetings, coordinating things, answering questions. Any questions about county director?
Yes, what's the pay range?
Yes, thank you. Pay range for a county director is 66.5 to 86.5. Depending on the candidate's background and qualifications. County manager, the pay range is 41,950 to 66.5. So, any other questions?
You said that Scott County has one that they're trying to hire now.
No, Scott County has a county director. They went several years. They were my only county that has one. Scott County has one, Bullitt, Boone, Montgomery. I think those are the ones that have.
How much would be the population now? Just on those counties on one county.
So I'm not sure population wise. I did go back and look at the number of employees that they have to see how you are related to that. Scott County had either, I think they have about 11 positions. I think one is vacant right now. It's 10 or 11. Bullitt has 12. Of course, Boone County has 20 plus positions. They are huge. Montgomery is smaller, but they had a particular situation that they hired several years ago. I don't know the exact story. Of course, you guys have 13 years, so you're right within those numbers.
What about Hardin County? Are they functioning with any director or manager in place or?
Yeah.
The Hardin County have one? Yes. Well, they have a director.
They had Jerry done before he retired, it was
Okay.
the county
Yeah.
director.
Yeah. So that title, those counties that currently have one, it was called a county manager, but now after Saturday, they're county directors.
Okay, so they have, okay, and they have several agents there as well.
They have a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
Who are the two that are hiring right now?
McCracken and Jefferson.
Jefferson.
McCracken.
McCracken, yeah. So we have one of those. Any other great questions about the director? So,
Without being familiar, do we have office space for this person if he chose to go this way?
yeah,
Okay.
so a county manager position, the county manager position does not supervise agents. They will supervise the assistants except for our programmatic assistants and our ADP assistant. they would, the agents would continue to be supervised by the area assistant director. So that's a big difference there between the two. The county manager role would take care of facilities, so they'll be working very closely with various facilities. And they would take care of all the fiscal, responsibilities that we have. So like they would be working with the extension district boards, they would be working with the budget, with money handling, bill pay, all of that stuff. So all of that would go to that person. Again, this would be a full-time administrative role, with no programming responsibilities. So there would be a different kind of training for county managers. They will not go through the UK leadership. They will not be attending, trainings and retreats with us. So slightly different level of supervision there within your office, but it would take all the fiscal responsibilities, facilities off. We could probably put a little bit of that client protection onto that person as well, as we would with a county director. The one thing it does not give you with the county manager position, I just want to be very clear and upfront about it, is it will not allow you to expand your agent positions. Should you decide to go there. You can kind of see the breakdown for job responsibilities on here. If you look at the county director position, 25% is financial and public accountability, 25% supervision, 25% advisory county council, 10% facilitation and collaboration teamwork, 10% customer and public relations, and then 5%, of course, professional standards, organization, and customer service. The breakdown for a county manager is slightly different. You notice that 40% of that is financial and public accountability, 35% supervision, 10% teamwork, 10% customer and public relations, and 5% professional standards, customer service, organization, improvement. So, it really depends on what you guys might need. These positions, they were in place several years ago, and UK kind of put a stop to those. And because a lot of our counties, and at that time, we weren't able to add agent positions on. That's why a lot of counties went with assistant positions, because we can add those at any time, we still can. But a lot of our counties wanted to increase the number of agent positions they have, and to grow their staff, grow their program in response to community needs. And so it was decided to bring it back, put it back on the table. So there is a third position. It's not a real popular position. That's the county facilitator. That one has been put on hold for a little bit. That's just where the agents keep their programming responsibility. And one brave agent might say, I'll do all the budgeting, I'll do all the finances, I'll do all the facilities, I'll do all of this, and you give me a little stipend. So right now that is off the table because it's not been decided what that stipend amount should be. And we don't have a lot of people wanting that responsibility. It is a lot, but there are counties where that is a thing. So it's just not on the table right now. It's kind of on top of it. Yeah, questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Can a county, so if a county started out with a manager position, would it ever make sense to move to a director other than having another agent?
It depends on what you all need and what kind of person you want in that position. You're talking about a home position, so you would have to re-advertise it. You would have to re-advertise that position in a director position, with no guarantee that that person would necessarily move up. It would depend on who's there. There could be no inside guarantee. It would have to be advertised and open back up. Because it would be totally different.
For the county director, you said that person sits on hiring committees with you, so we would have someone worked on site here who would be in hiring committees. That's not the case. You're a manager, that's just with the director.
That is my understanding. That's my understanding with that. They would be a lot of interviews, like when we advertise an agent position in Scott County, the county director is part of our interview team. I will share with you guys just a little bit, we just learned about this last week. Yeah, I think last month you all had asked about the interview process, like would you all have involvement and input into that? So, yes. They would still go through the interview process that we have it, but kind of like it was when we were interviewing for area extension director positions. Remember the very last part after you can narrow it down to 2 or 3 candidates or whatever it might be, but usually 2 or 3. What will happen in these positions is there will be an advertised time, this individual will do a presentation via Zoom, or possibly in person, one or the other. And you all as board members and anybody in the county could submit questions ahead of time. And so you could be part of, you could watch the presentation and then have your questions answered by that candidate. So you would have essentially input in that way. You would not be serving on an interview team as such, but you would have a chance to ask questions.
So we could ask questions, but have no.
You can, yeah, but you would still have a chance to ask any questions that you would want to ask of that individual. Well, let's make sure I am. Yes, you would definitely have that opportunity, for sure. Yes, John. But yes.
But if we had a county director, then that person is on the committee if we would hire.
Yes, so if you hire an agent position or anything like, that person, that director. Good questions, guys.
Having had it off the top of your head, how many counties have more than 4 agents?
Well, to do some figuring, there's quite a lot, let's see, just within our D4, we have Fayette, Madison, more than 4. Franklin, Woodruff. And Mercer, they have 4, right?
Yeah.
So they have 4, we have several that have 4. Mercer, Woodward has 4, Scott, they're over 4. On the other side. Well, we know Jessamine, Kenton, there's several. Boone, probably Campbell, I would say. Harding.
Campbell,
Yeah, Harding.
Jefferson has more than 4, but I don't know if those are all UK positions. There's KSU agents there as well.
What's that? I don't know that.
They're exactly the same as us, but they work with KSU instead of UK.
Thank you.
Sorry.
There's several, I don't know how many.
Fair to say, overwhelming majority do not.
Most of them, most counties probably have 4 or less.
All those counties you mentioned, majority of those counties you mentioned, all have a population basis bigger.
Yes, Frankfurt, Canton, Fayette, Jefferson, all of those have positions. Madison, sorry.
No, Jessamine doesn't, Jessamine doesn't.
Well, Rita, where, I know UK is recommending this, but do we have done a need survey here for our particular instance to show that we need, we're looking at practically spending you know, at least $80,000 and count their, benefits and all that insurance and all that.
So it'll be really interesting to see, probably almost all of you completed that needs assessment. We are expecting the results of that by probably the end of this month, first of next month. I haven't seen the results for your county, but, you know, that could give us a lot of interesting, information as far as, you know, are there needs for that? That would be the one piece I think that would be really good, but I think a lot of it is just up to you and what you see looking forward for your county and for your office and where you want your office to be. You know, and like I said at the beginning, guys, I mean, you don't have to decide. I mean, like now's not the only time. It is a great time, but it's not the only time you'll have a chance to do that. And, you know, I want you guys to know up front, you know, yeah, it's gonna help. It'll help me out, but it's totally your choice and your decision. I'm still gonna be here regardless, good, bad, or other. But, you know, it's where you see your office going, moving forward. You know, do you think there's enough of a need? I think we'll know more after we get that assessment back, but where do you see your office heading? You know, to have someone here in that role, I don't know how important that is to you. I know it would take a lot off of the agents, but, you know, it just depends on what you see. as your-
I don't have a problem with the office, the administration, what you're doing right now. A month. You have an idea?
Well, it depends on the month. Like here lately, like when it comes time for evaluations and stuff, we have to, do HR type staff stuff with our staff. That's a little bit more, here lately, you know, budget season and tax, rate time is a little bit more for whoever has the district board and,
Which alternates, right?
yeah, and, I don't know, I could see where it could be helpful. I guess I could see where it could be helpful and where it's not necessary, but I mean, it's not.
Does it help?
Well,
to-
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I don't know the inner workings of the office here. Yeah, I work with Tyler more than I do you two ladies. I think it's wrong.
You should totally come to my programs fair.
Well, I know. Yeah,
And plus, my have food will be awful.
Do you want to have a guess at like a percentage of what this would take off of your plate? I know these job descriptions are broken down into percentages, so I don't know if girls' roles right now have that sort of percentage assigned to them. Or if it's been a minute since you've looked at your own job description, that's okay too. I know. it's
So
been a
I
minute
will,
since
I
looked
will,
at it, so
I will
it's okay.
share with you guys. When UK re-envisioned and they created the area extension directors positions, we took a lot off of the agents' plates. A lot of what we did as agents, we now do. You know, all of the SPG, DLG website, all the reporting, all the uploading of audits and budgets and taking the lead on those. You know, those are things that this little contact agency used to have to do. And we have tried really hard, I can say I was an agent at the time when they did that. It really made a huge difference, just taking part of what we did off of our plate. Because it really freed up our time to do what we were trying to do, and that is do great programs in their families. So I know we took several things off of the agent's plates then, because I was in the physical contact coordinator role. And this would take some other things off. So instead of Alethea, for example, having to, with either of these positions, instead of her having to make sure that, you know, all reconciliations are done in QuickBooks Online, making sure that all the payment vouchers are signed before the bills are paid, making sure that everything is uploaded as it should be into QuickBooks. All of that would be either of these roles, responsibilities then. So it would take all it off, you know, getting everything ready for district board meetings or county extension council meetings, so we come off of their flex, which CEC's is Alexis. And of course, how we have facilities.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to bear. We go back and forth bouncing ideas off each other, discovering problems in the building. Like it was a few weeks ago, we discovered the overhead camera in 102 is that cable apparently got cut between the construction and.
That's okay, I found a better way to do it with Zoom and my phone.
Yeah, and having
So-
everybody else up there,
Better picture.
between that, I don't know if we were here the week of the 21st, we had random beeping in the office from the panels and the entrances. So just knowing how to work those.
So just having like a facilities manager on board took a lot off of their plates. You know, you're no longer having to trace and track all that stuff down. Same thing would be true, like Kim has, she has office staff and staff support coordination. So like she wouldn't have to think about getting everything ready for staff meetings every week, so that a new person, the manager or director would take care of that.
I don't know, when I think about it, I wish I had a better answer, because honestly, there are a lot of aspects of it that probably would be helpful to us. But, just like Rita said, ever since we've had AEDs, the district board, role has been a lot easier. All I have to do is be around on Fridays to sign stuff, and then hand the yellow folder to Mark, and then he signs all the same things. And then he hands it back to, no, he gives it to Ramona, and then we keep it moving. And it's, I mean, back before this current setup, it probably would have been a lot more work for me to be the district board contact. But honestly, Rita does pretty much everything. And, I mean, Mark and Sanara handle all of the accountant things, because that is not what I went to school for. It's not even what Sanara went to school for, but she's good at it. And Mark, he's got that expertise, which is wonderful. And, of course, I won't speak for, them and their responsibilities. I do agree that the county extension council should still be with the agents, because, you know, there are volunteers working with them. And, we're the ones who see them all the time and have a, you know, rapport with them, but I can't think of any, I don't know. I could see where it could be helpful, but I don't know, it's up to you. I'm fairly certain to have it in the budget if you wanted to, so that's, I guess, my professional, is that safe to say, opinion about the money side of it as district board contact. I've looked at the budget a zillion times, I don't really know what it means, but we have millions and millions of dollars, and I think that maybe if you wanted to do that, you could. And one other issue is, you know, if we wanted to hire another agent, I know it's possible to do that, but we would have to have this director person in place beforehand, so that's definitely something to consider. Our county programs are definitely big enough and great enough to have more agents at some point in time. I completely see it growing. So that's just something to consider, if that's helpful.
So would you see that being like multiples of what you all are doing as far as agents go, or would it be a new, like the fine arts?
Yeah, like a fine arts agent, another 4-H agent, another, you know, whatever we might need, whatever the county ends up needing, because we're growing and, you know, I'll use 4-H as an example, just because there's always kids and population's growing, and, you know, our program here is really good, and it's a possibility in the future. To me, it's a possibility.
When this building was built, how many, was it built with extra offices in mind, and if so,
It's
ooh,
basically 3 in the main building. They're
yeah, because we
capable.
have one down there.
And there's one down in the project room that was set up to be facilities if we needed to move someone around. There is like a true office space down there. So 4.
I figured building this pretty nice new building, that it was built with potential.
Definitely
expansion in
plans
mind.
for the future with
Yeah.
this build, yes.
We want to fill it, we want to use it.
Alexis, do you have any motion? No.
Rita, I think you should want to go, we didn't have to make a decision tonight.
Well, no, you can do a budget amendment later if you want to, like, it's
We all sleep on, look at
totally up to you.
green amount.
Well, I think Barry made a great point. I'd love to see that needs assessment before we start talking.
Yeah, I mean,
There's also a county extension council meeting at the end of the month, with all of you are a part of, where this could be something that is brought up to a larger group, if you wanted to get a feel for the 4-H, feel like we're lacking, the SCS and fine arts feel like we're lacking, it's something like that, so that's a good time to be able to approach the majority of the people involved.
Good point.
Because they,
It's on the 20th. So March 20th, I'll say dates, not looking at the calendar. I agree. That's the 19th. So she's like,
yeah, like you said,
CDC.
this is not something that I think you don't have to do it all. But I just want you to make sure you're aware of that.
Okay, those 18, how about that?
I really like the idea of the director position from the standpoint of giving someone in this building who could be a main point of contact between like our agents and UK and the community. I know we've had lots of things that have come up just since I've been on the board of things the community maybe wants, and that's really I think tricky to funnel through like a bunch of different people, and we had one person whose job it was to go out in the community, talk to people, and to be on those advisory councils, and it was their job to do that admin part, and kind of then go back and talk with the agents, but it was someone's focus. I think that could be really helpful in terms of growing and knowing what we want, knowing what the community wants from extension and for this building, having somebody in the administrative role whose job it is to do that. That's one of the things that really appeals to me about it. Yes, I agree.
I'd like to make a motion that we just table this after we've had to get those results back and maybe we can address this again in that April first meeting.
Hold a second. The motion been made to April meeting. We have a discussion. Daniel, how do we vote to that? Those opposed, motion carries. You want to do something? I'm going to put it on the website.
Okay, so I'm gonna, I do apologize. I'm gonna follow that. So you all have a copy of the proposed budget and.
I'll never know that.
You don't have. So sorry. You don't have quite a bit of this for us. Hey, Lauren.
Oh, he was a package.
So also helping me tonight with this will be Alicia and Marcus also. Yeah, we need a team program.
Sure, this is totally.
So I do apologize. I put it up on the new screen if you want to see it later. So this is the budget plan. Barry, you want to see?
No, it's not.
The budget committee met, and these are the numbers they came up with, and I was telling Mark before the meeting started, we actually, part of this, and you have a copy of it, part of it is this little thing down here at the bottom, it's called the 10-year capital and reserve form, because any money that we have in reserves, we have to have a 10-year plan for how we're gonna use that money. So, Olivia and I were talking about it today, and we're like, hey, Jerry, come here and help us. If anybody knows about facilities, it would be you. So we pulled Barry and he helped us, and as we were getting, could you please stop talking? As we were going along with that, we discovered that a few categories probably needed to be, increased. So it might look just a tad bit different to those of you who are on the committee, and I'll try to show you where those are. So we'll walk through here, we can go as slow or as quickly as you all want. If you have questions, please jump in. You have a copy of this. This is proposed. We can totally approve it tonight. We also have time if we don't get through tonight or if you wanted to further look at something. So these are the tax rates that were set and the assessments. We are basing the budget on a 5% anticipated delinquency rate, which I confirmed with PBA, that's an acceptable rate, as well as a 4.25% collection tax. So as we move on down, we included a few things, in here, some telecommunication taxes and rent taxes in here. $2,000 in gifts and endowments. We have not received that this year, but it's all kind of in there, so we felt like we might, so we figured it's better to go ahead and account for that as recurring income, and then if we don't, we don't. So I want to talk about the next section for just a minute.
I'm sorry, again, you just went ahead. Our guests are being disrespectful and I'm having a hard time concentrating. Could you please remain quiet? Thank you.
Go ahead. So at the budget committee meeting, we went through exactly how this carryover calculation is obtained. And I'll share this with you. I'm going to get too deep into this. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. There it goes. Okay, sorry. So I wanted to let you know how we arrived at this. So for the top part of this, right here, went into QuickBooks Online with a statement of financial position and obtained that number. This we did a couple of weeks ago, so it might be slightly different than what's on your statement of financial position today, but for budget purposes, it's probably close enough. This is all of our anticipating remaining revenue for the rest of the year based upon our budget versus actuals that we run, and this is our expenditures for the rest of the year. So we took those numbers. These numbers come straight off of last year's budget. That's what you had in reserves last year. So that's just carried over. So that's kind of how we arrive at this carried over reserves for capital and emergency operating. So this is your total available funds for your budget this year. This is your total recurring revenue. Okay. So moving on down to the budget, we'll walk through this rather quickly. This is our support staff that we have in place currently. Those are the salary rates, including a 2% increase for the year. That is not a guaranteed increase, not guaranteed to happen, but we'd like to go ahead and build it in, hoping that it will happen. So we have those, and those are our program assistants and staff extension assistants. Our part-time, some are 10, a couple that we have. So we have those built in as well. Also, it is part-time, temporary, we only budget 9% for benefits versus 48% for full-time. And 37.5 hours for our folks is considered full-time. So altogether, we're looking at hourly support staff at $444,849. Okay, any questions so far? And Olivia, Mark, if I forget something, I'm gonna browse through this next part. County contribution. So, each of our counties are placed into different tiers, different categories, if you will. There's some criteria for each of those. Our placement as the county did not change whatsoever. So our county contribution amount is exactly the same as last year's contribution amount. Now, when we had a vacancy, when the A&R position became vacant, that kicked us into the funding model. So that means the third agent position, we are paying for that position. So again, that salary has a 2% increase built into it. And because we have a fourth agent in the office, so we budgeted the fourth agent position here again with 2% increase and 36% increase. So this is where we added in just to see what would happen. And at this point tonight, we're not ready to do that, we'll just take it out, but the budget committee members wanted to see what would happen if we put that in. So we put in just a county manager position. And as you can see with the benefits, this was at the maximum rate. It would cost you like a little over $90,000 if you hired a manager at the maximum, very top of that, pay level. So if we're not ready to do that tonight, with Ross' permission, I'm just gonna get rid of that, okay?
And then Rita, while you're doing that, if we did, I think director was talking about, so director at the maximum range would be what, 85
I think it's 86.
or 86.5?
Yeah,
The total benefits we have.
that was gonna be my question before you.
How much was it, Mark?
Salary and benefits would have been 117,640,
Was the base, the maximum 86?
86.5. It'd been an increase of 27,000 between the manager and director.
At 86, not 88. Sorry. We said
Okay.
81 person and correct person.
There we go. So.
You said the
117.
county director was how much?
The 117,640.
That's what we do.
That's.
If it's maxed out,
Worst case.
there's no guarantee that you could max it out. You could, we never know until you have to.
Good to know.
So, but at this point, we just need to take that out for right now, since we're not going to approve it to that in there. Okay. All right, so that's all. All right. So any questions about anything else at this point?
Sure.
So we did not include a student intern because we have those other summer interns, that we're paying for through part-time staffs. So your total, all personnel, 659, 221. All right. So do you want to talk about travel?
All right, well, sure. So we all have some funding in here for travel. Sometimes, well, of course, agents travel all over the county all the time and out of the county sometimes. Assistants are usually traveling within the county, sometimes out of the county, but usually within the county. And this just gives them a little bit of money to be able to get reimbursed for their mileage. It didn't change. It didn't change.
No change. So all of the agent positions for travel have to be the same thing with these, well, the assistant not necessarily, especially their program assistants versus extension assistants. So. Any questions there? Please scroll on down. So we have 48,750 in travel expenses. Professional improvement funds. This was a change since our budget committee meeting. We just found out last week that it used to be 3,500 for professional improvement for agents. Now the amount has gone up to 4,000 because so it's been thinking to go to a national meeting or state meeting with hotels and lodging and food and all that. Plus our mileage rate went up to 67 cents per mile, so they gave us an extra $500 there. If the county chose to budget it. All of our agents here are involved in the professional association, and that's a wonderful experience, and we encourage that. We are able to do an extra $1,000 for each agent who's been working 3 years or more, so that they could go to ESG. But my understanding from talking that we really don't go to ESG, so we didn't feel like we needed to go to the extra $1,000 there.
Sorry, what's ESP?
As long as we have 5. is a joint, like, so each of our agents have like, there's a professional association for A&R, FCS one for 4-H, and the ESP is all the programs together. It's a separate thing, you're certainly not, sorry, that's just jargon. So the same thing with our, support staff, they have, their professional association is called Sigma, they have a state meeting coming up in April, and, we can actually, the maximum for them is $1,750 for, professional improvement, but typically staff here are not spending that much money for just that one state meeting, unless they're serving in a leadership role or something like that. So we felt like that is probably sufficient. So,
I'll go back to travel again, please.
yeah, sure.
Does that include mileage and gas?
So county travel is really interesting. It's much more than we think it is. So agents are reimbursed 67 cents per mile. That just increased January 1st. It also includes registration, out of county travel. So like if they go to a meeting, there's a $25 registration fee, that comes out of county travel as well. So, it's all mileage, registration fees, those kinds of.
We don't, it's a flat fee, so
No.
it doesn't, I don't pay for the gas in my car out of that. I don't pay for anything like that. It's just I drove 40 miles, I get 67 cents for one of those miles,
Which may or may not have covered the amount of gas.
which may or may not be covered.
So is 10,000, I guess I'm thinking is 10,000 enough?
To date, in the 11 years I've been here, none of us have ever gone over. I know gas is more expensive, but I mean, it goes up and down, but even Jerry never went over his mileage. So 10,000 is what we use just in case, you never know. But I think the highest anyone's ever been is about 8.
Okay.
It's just kind of a good buffer.
It's still on us, I mean, it's.
It is.
50,000 miles.
It includes the registration fees for trainings that don't count, for our professional association. Because our professional association, all those fees and things come out of professional improvement instead of travel. So like any training, like our FCS training that we just had was that last week? Last week, drove to Scott County every day and back, and that came out of travel, right?
Absolutely. Had you stayed overnight at a hotel, that would come out of your county travel.
Well,
I have a
that's
special meeting when I go for bed and stay, all of that is travel. Registration.
So the hotels are in travel.
If it's not professional improvement is just those professional association meetings, primarily, so anything else would be unaccounted. And they have to do lots and lots of documenting those models and all those studies, so.
Lord, you We'll just stick to the association, they do a lot.
Good question though, thank you for, because that is a lot, but, they don't get like, a flat fee for gas or oil changes or something like that, that just, all that upkeep has to come out of whatever that mileage rate is, which doesn't really come out. So, good question. Any other questions about travel, professional improvement? We're getting down to the really fun stuff. I'll talk about this next part. I'll go down fast. This thing is touchy, sorry. So UK operating. So the number of professional staff, we either have 2 agents or 3 agents. This is a 3-agent count, so that gives us 3 agents plus 1 support staff for a total of 4 employees. And then we have to add in the additional employees that we have here. If we counted correctly, the day of the budget committee, we have 13 employees here in the office. So this part, this UK operating expenses, guys, probably wondering what in the world is this? Why do we have to do this? But this is mainly our IT support that we get from the university. So we get new computers, our IT person will come down if he or she needs to work on a problem situation. This is IT support for all the computers that we have here in the office, and that's just figured on an employee basis. So, that is part of the money that you all send to UK. And trust me, it is part of a group of it with our local IT person, Rick. There's an optional county support cost, UK publications order entry. That's a lot of some of our publications do have a fee attached to them. And that's just a small amount of money that we'll send ahead of time to UK on the agreement. And if we don't use $100, we might use more, we might use less, but all of that will come out in the final account at the end of the year. But we just know there's some, like, publications that cost money, also for state fairs, some of the boards that the foragers have to have can come out of that fund. So we thought we'd go ahead and do a little bit of money.
What does that staff model mean? You said 2 agents or 3 agents.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
so it just depends. If we get this little box, we are a 3 agent. Some counties are a 2 agent county.
If you have 4 employees, you're a 3 agent. Okay.
So you get 3 agents plus 1 support staff, or if you're a 2 agent, you get 2 agents plus 1 support staff.
Okay.
And there are some counties that are just 2 agent counties. So that's kind of the number of employees that we have.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Great questions. So any other questions about that? Good. Now we get down to the funny part. This is our office operating expenses. This is where we really have to look at some things. We looked at our budget versus actuals. We talked to several people. We had great input from our budget committee. So advertising and printing, this would be like if we wanted to do some special printing, wanted to do billboards. The advertising that we might do in different places, whether it be in the newspaper or other places. Any advertising in any vehicle campaigns that we might have, we put 20,000 there. Professional services that, Mark, you can anytime, if I get this wrong, but that's gonna be like our cleaning, that we have done, our annual cleaning, that first year. Our landscaping, those types of professional services, lawn care.
Lawn care will be done, maintenance repairs, but that's just your cleaning service and professional services. So we're budgeting for 60,000 for this year, but I do think we'll surpass it, so we went ahead and budgeted next year, going into next year forward.
We're pretty much already there.
Yeah, it's getting close.
So we did increase that one to 75,000 since the budget. Maintenance and repairs again, by, different types of maintenance that we have to have, 50,000. We think we'll cover that. Insurance and bonds, 100. What is the bonds here? Equipment repair, 24,000 budgeted. And 5, forgiving the marshal free. Vehicle insurance, we increased that. I think it was 28 last time. 2,800, we increased that to 3,500 because we didn't see that and with insurance costs going up. Vehicle maintenance and repairs, 4,500 and utilities, 70,000. And, I know that sounds like a lot, that's about the same, but that includes all of our utilities.
Usually during the winter, your electric bills run $7,000, so it sounds like a lot, but it's not in the grand scheme of things when you count all of it together.
So did you say you decreased, maintenance and repairs?
Yeah, from 80 to 50.
To 50, okay.
Yeah.
Which is why that line was still about the same, so it was.
So, we're hoping, I think I'm correct, we're hoping to get those walls repaired out of this year's budget.
Yeah.
So that's one reason why we decreased a little bit, and we do have some plans, we're gonna do some acoustic panels in some of our meeting rooms to help with some of the sound, and then we also, work on some other doors. And getting those better, so. I think that was just, yeah, I think it was just not, and it's like, making sure that was right, because that is corrected in our,
See, we've always had it in there, we've never used the $600.
and I think maybe that's why. Question, good question. I tried to write notes up here. Any other great questions there? Okay, so let's move on down to contracting services, marketing and special programs. I know that looks like a lot, but we're talking, lots of different programs under that. And I don't have that breakdown, but there is a breakdown on which programs are under there, and there's the amount specified with each of those. Any big program that the agents do as a group, that is seen as a whole, and the whole office, that came out of marketing and special programs.
And that's the same amount we budgeted for this year, we're saying 55% right now for the year, and that includes, 4-H and all the rest of the programs we get. So I know 4-H where they do their transfer camp and things like that, with salaries, it's a lot of paper.
Especially for raising,
Yeah.
volunteers, different things, keeping that cost low, all of that comes out of it. Anything marketing that the office does, we can take out of there. Supplies and services, we have up to 35,000, postage and shipping at 11.
Did that say the same?
Yeah, both those are the same.
Should postage and shipping been raised?
It's
Because postage is going up,
Yeah.
and so is shipping.
So you're saying about 50% right now, 7 months in, so you have a little
Okay.
way to talk.
Okay.
So maybe we need to think about that next year,
Yeah.
raising it next year.
We could monitor it this time and see how it comes out. Absolutely. Janitorial supplies, we did increase that. We got to talk about that today with Barry as we were talking, and I think it was 6,500.
6,000.
6,000.
Yeah.
It was 6,000 and we're already over. I believe our very very close to it, so we felt like we needed to increase that, moving forward into the next budget. So this is a calculation that just kind of adds them all together, but our program support, this is the money that our agents and our assistants receive to do their program. So like to buy supplies, or to buy groceries for demos, whatever it takes to do their program. This is the amount of money. So for our agents, it's $6,000 a piece. And then for the assistants, they have a total of 9,000. And the nutrition education program assistant has 1,500. And hardly ever will the nutrition education program assistant use all that, but there are some things that it is a federally grant funded program, and there are some things that their program cannot cover. So it is nice to have some monies there for that individual. So, in relation to this, one of our tabs in the budget plan is that while they're given this amount of money for program support, they have to do a budget, and then at the end of the year, they have to report back on that budget. So, even though I may be given $6,000, I can tell them not to. So, any questions about anything in that column, that line? All right, dues and subscriptions, $1,000 that would be things like your, if you've got an Amazon account, if you've got Canva, Grammarly, those kinds of things, anything that would have a dues or subscription added to it, would come out of there. Your county travel and professional improvement, that just stuck it down here for us. Your audit, $7,500, we should be back to one audit per year, so that should more than cover us on the audit. Board expense, 6,000, I think that was the same as last year. Bookkeeping, 12,000, sale funds, 12,100. DLG fees, that's for your annual, membership fee to the Department of Local Government, which we're required to do. Yours is $500 per year, we can have it in July. Bank fees, we already talked about a little bit with Mark earlier, about the fees that are attached to our mortgage. We came over with our account. So why you see those bank fees there. Billing insurance at 15, I believe that was probably the same as last year as well.
It's 12.5 last year, we increased it, so we spent at 14.2, and premiums increased as well on them.
And then excess insurance, that is just the insurance that we as agents might get for programming. So we might have a program or go to the National Farm Machinery Show. We want to make sure that we have extra insurance there for our participants is what that's there for. It's not very expensive, so doesn't cost us a whole big lot for that, but it is something very good to have. Treasurer's fund, $5,000. Volunteer management background checks as our client protection. Also, you know, if we had volunteers that we need to reimburse for something or pay, Kentucky Volunteer Tomorrow just happened, wonderful event. We could have used some of that money for that. But it's client protection, background checks come out of that as well as other things. ADA needs, that's only increasing, having more and more, need for accommodations, and that's a wonderful problem to have, it's really awesome. So, I believe, Mark Dolce, I think we increased that.
Yeah, it went from 4 to 10.
So that's a wonderful problem to have. We're attracting new clientele to our program all the time, which is great.
What are some of the things that spend on, is it like the ASL observers?
Mm-hmm, yes,
Mostly.
literally.
And I know they just increased their rate, because.
Yes, they did.
Have that for the flood rate too.
Yes, they did.
So I wondered if that was a lot.
Yeah, we have some, homemakers with hearing impairment and who are also very, so we've been using, they come to a lot of things and it's $1 zillion for every hour. We're using it, we're definitely using it.
Which is,
And it's great, yeah, it's great that they're coming,
Mhm,
so you
yeah.
need more money for insurance.
yeah, absolutely.
It's been,
And if it's a really long event, like, you know, they're coming for something for the party
like
to.
the Christmas party or the annual meeting or any of the things the homemakers do because they never do anything for under an hour. Which is fine, they totally can do that.
Wasn't the interpretation cost like a minimum of 2 hours?
Mhm.
Still, yeah.
2 hours and then.
Yeah.
I think camp was what we mentioned in the budget meeting was a big reason for that increase too, right? The projected needs for summer camps this summer. Yeah.
They didn't pay 2 with them.
Cause they would be, what, 12 hours on, it would be, so it would be a little high.
As somebody who's traveling with benefit from those services, thanks for including that in the budget.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Always. And that's, you know, that's what we want. We want our programs to be diverse, we should be very inclusive, and it's a wonderful, wonderful, you know, thing to have our programs be on. All right, any questions about that little group? All right, so let's move on down to equipment purchase, lease, rent, 30,000. Vehicle purchase, lease, rent, 25,000. We're thinking maybe back to for camp. We can honor that. Because obviously we're not looking to purchase a vehicle, this year's budget, you don't think. Land improvement, 10,000, building construction, 10, building improvement, sorry, that's my question mark from earlier. Building improvement, 50,000, and again, that would be the acoustic panels and some of those doors and other things that we want to do to the building, and not, who knows, there's things that happen. Furniture and fixtures, I would like many tables, chairs, you know, whatever it might be that comes up, that for the office. So, any questions about that group? So, capital outlay, I'm gonna let Mark talk about this a little bit. He's much more familiar with this than I am, but this is basically your principal payments and payments for the year. Yes.
Go back. You got 50,000 there. You talk about doors, what else? This is a pretty good building. Why are we talking about that or adding to spending money on that?
So the acoustic panels, if I understand it right, they're it's right. And they will cut down on a lot of the echo, that's within our meeting rooms.
And then too, the doors, it's not like replacing doors or anything, it's, so we have these key cards and they help to, you know, we use them for locking doors, we only have a few of them right now, but we're looking to add to like the one over here by the, front desk windows, so we can just swipe in instead of.
One by the
getting
old meeting room.
One by the old meeting rooms, and, well, there's two, over there, and then, so we're looking into like wiring those. I'm under the impression Barry's getting the, quotes and things, so it's gonna be expensive. But I don't know how much, he's still looking into that.
As a reminder, and those of you who are new, anything that is $5,000 or above has to be brought before this board for approval. So just because the money is in there does not mean that it gets spent. And if you all want to adjust that 5,000 to something you're comfortable with, if you're no longer comfortable with that, that is up to you all to do.
Thank you.
You know,
Good point, Alexis. Okay, good questions. Principal payments.
Okay,
Sure.
so basically, the debt service there with your principal payments and interest payments, they represent the two payments that we make each year to CAECO on our bond liability. One of those payments is a principal and interest payment, and one of those payments is an interest on payment. So what this represents is the interest payments represent both payments, and then the principal payment for this year will only be $180,000. Now, at the end of your budget, over the last couple of years, you have enough excess funds that we are able to do what we did in July 2022. If you would like, and pay another $1 million down towards the CAECO bond payment. Now, from my understanding, that $1 million will have to be spent towards the debt reduction, or it will have to be invested in some other method. We cannot just keep it on as a bank account, basically. We have to do something with the funds. We can only retain, I think it's a year's operating expenses as a bank account, so we have to do something with the funds. It's just a matter of what we decide to do. And I have Keith Rock, I'm sorry. Now, I will say that, if you do go with this $1 million by 2029, when we are able to actually pay it off with our regular payments, we would still be short $880,000 at this point. So it would require this paid out in one more, but then we'll be set in 2029 to eliminate all of it at that point, so.
Any questions? All right, so that brings us down to the bottom of our budget, and that brings us down to the reserve for emergency, and it brings us up to 105, and I can see it if you look at this screen. So any monies that we have not appropriated to spend will come down into the reserve for emergency. And we want to have a minimum in the emergency operating reserve, a minimum of 6 months, and more if we. And your total office operation expenses was just a little over 2 million, and we definitely got half of that. Now, that's not to say that you all as a board, this is the numbers that we came out of it as a budget committee. We felt like we were secure. Any of these three reserve for emergency requires board action to use those funds. So just because we have them budgeted as capital improvements, if we need them for something else, we can still utilize those. But that does give us like a half a year's amount of operating reserve, 300 in capital improvement, and 1.65 million in capital improvement funds. And again, those were the numbers that we just came up with at the budget committee meeting. Now, these funds have to go over here into this capital reserve, the 10-year. Made you all a copy of that, and want to share that with you, so you know how we're appropriating.
That's my name, sorry.
Yeah, it is.
But it is also on the screen.
That one just because that's really small.
It's so the 10 years, 10.
So the capital improvement reserve fund, you can see what happens here that Mark was talking about. This goes out to the year 2030, so this will be our principal payments and our interest payments on the mortgage that we have here. So that's kind of how all of that kind of plays out as far as the payments for each of those years. So that's how we very easily can put that into work. Under the capital improvement, we kind of pulled everything, we got some input, and we all kind of brainstorm. We have about 300,000 there, I believe, to play with, to think about shelter and trail improvements, and facility improvements, and that can be any number of things that we might need for next year coming up. For the year after that, who knows, we may need to replace a vehicle as vehicles get a lot of miles on them. We want to make sure that they're safe. Sealing and restriping in the parking lots coming up, probably a couple of years down the road, we'll have to do that again. Not really sure exactly how much that would cost, but maybe 60,000 is probably fairly safe number. Technology, infrastructure update, keeping our electronic equipment, editing equipment up to par and in working order. And then last but not least, as time goes on, we're gonna have to replace those HVAC units. This $30,000 will no way replace all the HVAC units that we have here, but we're figuring that will hopefully give us 3 or 4 units. We're looking, 4 or 5 years down the road. Those are the things that we put in here as far as equipment fund. I don't know what your thoughts are, if you guys are good with that. Any thoughts, questions? Okay. But we do have to have a plan for those reserves so that we know what's going on. So UK's budget, it has to be a balancing to zero balance budget. So everything that we have coming in, everything we have going out must be pulled out and be zero balance. Any questions about the budget? Anything that you're not comfortable with, or
What's the, over there in column K and L, what, I didn't notice that before, what was that?
this? So this is our, do you remember at the very top of this? We had a recurring income right here. This one,
Okay.
2,562,98. So this is basically telling us that, whoops, come back. There's a couple of things on it. This is just telling us that our budget exceeds the recurring income, the recurring revenue. So that means that we're kind of digging into some of those reserves that we have, largely because of the payoff or the building. It is let us know that we went over that recurring. That does not take into account your other monies. It's probably not the ideal way to operate every single year, but when you're trying to pay something off, that's understandable. Rather than hopefully having to do it amendment.
How did you bring it total this year?
So Mark already has budgeted, I have it over there. We're bringing in more revenue this year than we did last year. Last year, I guess we didn't have, maybe we didn't have Mark here with us when we did the budget, and I was new last year. We did not put one of our interest payments into the budget last year. That was totally my bad. I just kind of looked at that top one and didn't realize that was the second one that we got in. So, we actually budgeted a little bit less last year than we should have. And that was, I just didn't put it in there correctly. So I don't know. I know it's a little bit more revenue.
Yeah, revenue last year was budgeted at 2.17 million.
And then, yeah, see, we're at
Almost 2 points.
2 point almost 5. Yeah. So you've got some more funds. And we didn't really budget any interest. Now we know we're gonna have some interest in there. So we can have a little bit more. And I'm not at all gonna guarantee you guys this, never ever, but because we're using last year's assessments, typically we'll bring in more revenue than what it actually says on paper, but not gonna guarantee that. Good question. Let me ask you guys one other question. So I don't know where you are with that. We are also required to, the district board. The district board enters into a memorandum of agreement with the University of Kentucky. It's kind of how we do business. So we will be filling out a memorandum of agreement, and that's where we're gonna divide all that money that you're gonna send to UK for staff and for benefits and salaries, IT support, all that good stuff. In the past, you as a district board have always made 4 payments to the university: July, October, January, April. That is flexible. So we would need the minutes, to for the budget. We would need to dedicate the number of payments that you want to do for UK. Whether that be 1 payment, 2, 3, or 4. And then that will generate, based upon that will generate our memorandum of agreement. And you can see based on the numbers we have now, it kind of breaks it down, for each one. So that would be something else that our board member will sign off on, as well as our schedule of disbursement, and this one was based on 4 installment payments. So that's kind of the different parts of the budget plan, and then we also have our purchase support budgets that our agent and students will fill out. So that's kind of what that looks like. So any questions about the budget itself or the plan? That's good. Well, I can close this down and you all can do some tracking and figuring, and the budget does need to be completed and approved and presented to the school board by April 15th, so, and, this completed to you.
Read that out for the next, I don't like you to take, it's really maybe adopt personal property tax, or something back to 15.
With a personal property tax from 21 drop down to 15, see what the numbers should be.
I can't do it on this one, but I can pull up a different one, if we want to do that next month. If you want to do it, are you okay with it? Does that work? If you want to do it now?
I think that the personal property is better aligned with another.
I can't change it on this one, but you can pull up another one and make that one.
And 9% is what we were at this year. There's no increase.
We were at 8.3%.
So that, going up to 9, isn't it?
It was. It increased. And if you all decide that you were going to meet in April, we can take a little bit deeper dive into how that difference in the two numbers, how that kind of originated, and we can try to really dive into that if you all want to. And then we can look at what happens if we change those numbers for next fiscal year.
It just bothers me when our employees get a 2% raise, and we raise the tax and 4%.
You explain that more, what knowledge you have.
When did we raise the taxes 4%?
Yeah.
Because we've not ever,
Okay, well, how much, what percent are we raising?
we only did the compensating rate this year. It was compensating. It was just the compensating rate. The DLG makes these numbers. I like strongly would suggest reaching out to them because we don't, UK doesn't, Rita doesn't create these numbers. They send them to us. I just know that you said 4% multiple times.
3 and 9. I can see that, and nobody has to explain the difference between 8.3 and 9.
No, not 4%, but like, it's, just, you know, I would suggest asking the DLG because
I guess the confusion, Danny, I think is where DLG says this is what compensating is, whatever that difference is, and then there is an additional, you can take compensating plus 4%. So when you say 4%, what it means to us, at least, is that you're saying we're taking compensating plus 4. But what the numbers are just compensating. That difference could be 10%, it could be 1%, but that would be how DLG categorizes them. So that's where, when you say 4%, we're confused because we've just done what the DLG has posted.
I'm thinking about a tax bill and how many dollars it wants last year versus how many dollars it's going to be this year.
Right, that's, like I said, those DLG numbers, but the way they categorize them and the way you're talking about them is what's confusing us.
It's a semantic problem.
Correct, it's the math, but it does matter when you're talking about it. And that 2% is not guaranteed also, they budget for it and it's allowed, but none of us might get any raises whatsoever.
yes, that's possible.
I'm just saying, with an increasing tax, like our county is doing very well. Tax base is getting bigger. I don't see that we need to keep raising the rates.
So what we can do for next month, if you are going with it, I think I know, tonight, I know enough about it just to be a little bit dangerous. Okay, because it has to do with that substitute rate. That's what gets us in trouble. Or leaves us here, you all have done nothing at all wrong, nothing wrong. But if you all will allow us to talk about this next month, I will have some stuff prepared for us. And maybe that would help us to understand that substitute rate versus the compensation rate. That's not okay. And then we can take a look at that and see what happens. We can plug some different numbers in to see what happens to that based on the current assessment. And see what we got.
We've got a few full folks that you heard.
Yeah, it's not gonna hurt anything for us to talk about it and understand why it is the way it is and what would happen if you did. Now, once we get ready to set test rates, which is in August, September, then we can really look at those numbers too. That they provide us with.
The fiscal court meeting is April 9th, is that right? That we will present it to.
Make sure. Yes, April 9th.
Alexis, you said the thing about the 2% being who allows the 2%, if not us.
Is the different trustees saying,
UK, okay, so we asked UK, hey, can we increase, what we are paying our employees, and then they tell us yes.
yeah,
No.
we put a 2% increase in there, hoping that that's what they will get. It is up to, it's up to you decide what the trustees. They will not say.
Still learning all of that, what you're paying us to do, what we get to.
It's very, yes, yeah, because
Yeah.
one line it doesn't change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes it fun. This is all work.
I tried to get things through, and you get a new business.
Thank you, budget committee, for all of your.
So our budget committee members were awesome, did a great job helping us, so thank you. And the agents were part of it.
That means we will meet April 1st, if that there.
Motion, we table that budget, then we'll need to deal with it.
We need a budget table.
On the budget.
That's Easter Monday, is that all we're gonna be voting? It's also spring break. Just on that. I'm just following. But if we push it back, and that's gonna be the day before the fiscal court meeting, I'm not, that's Thursday. I am the only one who's going by school, I think, in the school, and so I. Well, table is. I knew it was Fairgrounds and Boyle. We.
Right.
I'm released the next day. I'll be able to. Perfect. Spencer, will you be for the April 1st meeting?
Yes.
Spring break. So we'll have more.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what, yeah. April 1st is spring break. You might want to check. Mary, will you be able to attend that meeting? As far as you know. No emergencies.
As long as we can have a quorum.
We can have four.
Okay.
I'm not going to.
Same.
Not spring break.
Spring break doesn't count for me.
All kids come to us during spring break. Yeah, we need to, or we.
You know what? Salt and prayers.
Yeah. Oh, 10 days. It's the national meeting that we're all in for. Because they have internet out, they're probably having it for staff.
For staff, and we for children.
We're leaving the next day.
So we will have a quorum. Are you good for April 1st? Okay, cool. We'll have a quorum.
Yeah.
So if you wanna.
I made a motion. Table, vote on the budget. Till next meeting.
That could be a potentially long meeting because we've paid several things now to discuss that meeting, just so you guys know.
Just gonna
Heads up. Heads up, set it up for your.
Yeah.
Let's get this tag. I heard something to you, Kelly's.
That's it.
Been moved, second, any discussion for? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? there anyone who will be in town? Oh, it's gonna be a long meeting.
From 5:30 to around there.
Oh.
Are you thinking 5, or are you thinking earlier than that?
Going out.
I probably couldn't come more than like maybe 5, because I already have to leave work a few minutes early to get here for 5.
30 minutes, we're out.
Yeah,
I could probably do 5, but I've got kid duty before then, so.
yeah, I could probably do 5.
Let's set the time start at 5.
Okay. Everybody write that down. All right.
Hey, let's go. And snacks.
And snack.
And a quick meeting.
We got them for next Tuesday.
Yes, and we are excited and ready to come to that.
Awesome.
Y'all get double days if it's the day after Easter, so.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Exactly, that's okay.
That's right. Outside meeting.
Right?
Lots of gum.
Some chocolate.
All right.
Some good one.
We have more for public comment. So, that. John.
Sitting here, you guys sure are a hardworking group. Goodness gracious. Most of y'all know who I am. I'm Dr. Beth Johnson. And I'm one of the volunteers with the Investment in Youth Cell Committee. I have I'm guardian of a young 16-year-old that shows market goats. And we have in our group, we have people that show cattle, mostly swine and market goats and sheep. And we have 10 kids that are actually involved in the 4-H animal science group. And this weekend at the Beef Expo, we actually had 2 kids compete in the livestock judging. Colton Kaufman placed 3rd in his division in the livestock judging. Unfortunately, they didn't have enough for a team. So if you know of anybody that could possibly help us with coaching kiddos in the livestock judging, that would be much appreciated. And but they are very, very active in the Animal Science Club. A couple of the kiddos are actually involved in a lot of other 4-H activities. Most of the kids, once they get into high school, of course, there is now a middle school FFA program. So some of these kids do double duty, do 4-H and middle school FFA. And then in high school, a lot of the exhibitors are in FFA as well. And so what I come here today for is to request permission to utilize the pavilion and the meeting rooms for the Investment in Youth sale and show. We will be having our sale and show on September the 5th. We generally will set up pins, et cetera, on the 4th, in the evening of the 4th. And then you need to utilize the meeting rooms for is number 1, displays. I think Rita and Tyler were at the along with Danny, and I think Barry was there too this past sale that we had this past year. The wind kind of created havoc with the kids really worked hard on the display and have a display of their projects. And so that's, the meeting room would be ideal to set up those displays. And plus any, distribute any, I think Tyler had a booth set up at the sale. Just letting people, it's a community event and we really want to educate the community what extension is all about and what they have available with extension. We've really been working with Tyler, last fall and also this in January. I think we had January and February, we had a meeting. We will be having a barbecue supper. When is that? April 23rd.
It's.
I think it's April 23rd, to raise money for, we are, self-funded as far as the investment in youth. We do have our own insurance. We purchase insurance for this, sale and show, and also it's a bundled type package, because we do have a pig jackpot show in May, which is kind of fun. We have, you wouldn't believe some of these people that show. I mean, these are little tiny pigs that come to this show in May. That's really the first show in Kentucky for swine. One of the exhibitors we have is actually breeds and sells show pigs, and their sale, I believe, is coming up this next week or so. And it's the Ellis's. I don't know if you guys know them or not, but they'll have about 90 show pigs to sell. We raise and show market goats, and we will probably have about 20 or 30. And then Beth they raise and sell market lambs. So, in Boyle County, we'd have a really strong youth livestock show. Corbin had the champion gilt at the state fair and the North American. And then, did she go on to win? No,
She was reserved
she was reserved
for Gil's.
nationwide. It was kind of a cool competition. They all did it on Facebook. But beautiful gilt, and did really, really well. So you can see what this Boyle County youth really have accomplished in, we've always been well known. Boyle County has for the youth livestock, kids. But that's what we're requesting, is use of the facility. And we'll gladly entertain any questions, concerns, that you guys may have, from us. This is Beth Cole. She's also, her volunteer, leader as well. So.
I would say personally, to make it easier on me, because we usually cook, the Cattlemen Association does, and donate, I think, so much money to.
Yes.
I think it's right. That would make it much easier to be right here on the booth.
Yeah, won't have to move this, yeah. And undercover too.
Yes,
Undercover, yeah, yep, that's true.
Tyler, I'm gonna put you on the spot. I know we got a meeting tomorrow night on facilities and use. Everything right now, in our programming would allow them to do that without question. Is that correct?
What do you mean by program?
Well, our guidelines on people on frequently used facilities. And is there,
This would only be our second meeting on that, so currently it still stands as the way it was. I think it was May 19th was when that was last amended, so it's currently that. There are other groups that have used this facility for sale, has been the farmer's market, and they were also granted, so I guess maybe I'm just not understanding the question.
well, I guess, can we, I don't want to make a motion if we can't legally, by our bylaws, have this facility out there. I know we got to meet them all night. But maybe a day ahead of time.
So are you
That's why I'm
considering maybe
saying,
taking?
can we legally, I mean, can they,
Well,
within, to follow our guidelines?
you're just district board,
Yes.
just gonna throw that out.
From my understanding, under the current guidelines,
Sure.
they would have to fill out an application, and they would have to be in a partnership with one of the agents, and they would have to, pay the $100 to be a, whatever it is, partner with Extension. That was from one of our last meetings last year, and I remember that.
Not following you on the last one. Yeah.
Okay, well, it was written in the contract.
There's meeting fees, I think.
Yeah.
Meeting fees.
But
Yes, so as
If
a
you're
partner,
a partner, then you don't have to.
No.
Okay.
Is what I remember from last time.
So do you consider
I serve on their boards, I would
them to be
say,
a partner?
yes.
Okay.
And for the farmer's market, someone, one of the agents serves on their board as well.
Yeah. Farmers market, they're good partners. Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion that we allow. Okay,
I still think they need to get a request in whatever.
Yeah.
Because it is part of balance.
The application?
Verification.
Yeah, we can do that.
Just from a 4-H perspective, said it last time, gonna say it again this time. And I'll read it as I wrote it last time. Danielle expresses that 4-H remains firm in their decision to part ways with the investment use sale and is not in favor of the use of the extension office for IYS. I feel obligated to say that.
now who said from?
That's 4-H's stance on this as the 4-H representative.
But they're a partner with A&R.
But they were a previous partner at 4-H, so that's why I feel comfortable.
Well, I think that's all some visions out more age.
Well, I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you on that. I'm just making a statement, sir.
Okay,
Thank you for your opinion.
okay.
You can still vote.
Can
In our current meeting room policy, where does that application go? Does it go to us as a board? Does it go to you all as agents when an application comes in? So I know farmers market presented here, was that like after their application? Or I guess I'm trying to figure out how.
It comes in with the structure.
Oh.
Of the next one.
Would it be appropriate to have a board vote pending the problem, back where we first?
Did we not, so the application that we would have filled out last year would not apply this year?
Every year, every fiscal year.
Yeah.
everyone.
It would have been for a different day last year, too, so.
Well, sure, yeah.
But since we meet in April 1st, if they go ahead and get in, I'm sure they'll respond April 1st.
I apologize, I didn't even realize that we had to fill out that application.
Any time between now and April 1st, and then we
Yeah.
can bring it to the board, and that's, the application is your formal request.
Sure,
your written
sure.
request, so,
Yeah.
I mean, you being here is great, and that's just
Yeah,
that's a formal request that they can vote on in that
Sure.
way.
Is that different than the application we filled out to use the meeting rooms?
No, no,
Okay, we filled that
It's-
out in the fall.
right, so it's the exact same one, but it would be for this event.
okay,
So what you filled out would be for just general
Your
meetings.
reimbursement.
This is for,
right,
But we don't have to do that for each.
no, just for, so if you have reoccurring meetings that you're meeting here monthly, so that's, you put that down, and then this is something separate where you're using different meeting rooms, that kind of.
But every year you have to fill out an application.
yes, and that needs to be turned in like in January, or is it October?
Just prior, since, if the meeting room policy were to stand as is, every time you want that, you'd have to ask for, an exception essentially. So anytime, I'm sure, I don't want to speak on behalf of this board, but it seems like they like things way ahead of time. So, if you know your dates in September, the sooner you get it in, the better type situation. But if it's just to have a meeting room, which is educational strictly, there's no for sale where it meets the letter, it doesn't have to go before this board. So as long as we have enough time to get it in the calendar, that's plenty.
Perfect.
Sorry to speak.
You're fine.
I was prior to him, and like was involved with that, so.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah, we'll just try to get in, we'll just try to make sure.
But their next meeting date, so
Yeah,
that
yeah,
helps to
yeah, and
have it ready
we can,
for
we can
them.
get it in ASAP.
So we,
Yeah, like
so we have to make a motion since the process is not correct.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson.
You're welcome, dear.
Anybody else come forward this meeting? No, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Well, I mean, we're like, oh, I don't know, man, it's like, oh,
Oh, be clear, like, yeah.
At the beginning, when you said, you said, I think it's pretty here about.
We both know.
Hold on, maybe I'll.